Headphones on, let's do this.
Hey, do you know of a podcast I could listen to that has nerd and comic books and stuff? I really can't find one.
I say, you ever heard of the Nerd Dome podcast?
Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Nerd Dome Podcast, episode 258. I am your podcaster without fear, Luke, and today I am joined with the No Picture guy.
Wow. I am joining you from a distance. From a distance.
Is it the planet of the broccoli people?
Yes.
What is it? Dabari?
They
Is that what they were?
The bari. Yes, the bari smell delicious.
But you didn't kill them. It's okay.
I didn't kill them. Also, their volcanoes erupt cheese for some reason. Unexpected.
Is it cheese and rice to go with the broccoli people?
Yes. Uh-huh.
Excellent.
And it's not like cheddar. It's like Velveeta.
Yeah. Just like the consistency of Velveeta, like oozing down a hill.
Uh-huh.
I don't like that visual. I don't like that visual. Oh man, I do have another question for you guys after we get the other intro.
Yeah, classic Chris Hoffman here from Validity Studios.
Yeah. So I was talking to Charles, Mr. Nerd Storson today. Yes, he exists. He's guarding the realms, the realms of Nerdlstein, and we started talking about if you have a different favorite sandwich for a different mood that you're in. Like, is there a sandwich like when you're feeling bad and you just need a sandwich to help you feel better and full? Is it just whatever sandwich you can make, or do you have like do you have sandwiches that are related to emotions?
Yes.
Yes. What are they?
My comfort sandwich is a grilled cheese.
Mm-hmm. Solid.
Mm-hmm.
Like, is there like a hangry sandwich where you just need to eat, but you're angry?
That's bologna.
Bologna? Okay.
Yeah.
What does ice cream sandwich count as sandwich?
Oh, that's the party sandwich.
Oh, could it also be a victory sandwich?
Yeah, sure. The party, victory, same emotion.
Sandwich?
Same emotion. Yeah, celebratory.
Just joy.
Sandwich.
Just joy.
Joy sandwich.
Accomplishment.
Yes.
Accomplishment, the sandwich, brought to you by Klondike. Chris, what about you? Do you have any emotion sandwiches?
No. It's a solid no, because I am such a big club sandwich fan.
Everything is club sandwich.
I love club sandwiches. Anywhere that I go, if it's got it, and I've never been there before, if they have a club sandwich, I will try it. I absolutely love Swiss. I love turkey. I like it. I used to like it when you put Sprouts on it, but Sprouts have gotten to the point where they're trying to kill us.
Oh, really?
Oh yeah, Sprouts and iceberg lettuce is constantly trying to murder us. That's why you don't see like the heads of lettuce at the grocery store anymore, is because there were just before the pandemic. I don't know if you guys remember this, but there was like 5 or 6 outbreaks of E. coli from iceberg lettuce, and they just fell off the shelves. Nobody would buy them at like 75 cents a head anymore. And so when you go to the grocery store now and you look, there used to be this huge section of them at the front of the store, and now there's like 5 of them in the organic section. They're just not seen because they're trying to kill you. And it's almost the same with Sprouts. Is they if there's going to be E. coli on something, it's usually one of those two.
Well,
I
good
usually
thing I
risk it
don't.
though because I love my club sandwiches, and if you can put it in fours and with the piece of bread in between, yeah. My favorite classic one is at Village Inn. They have the perfect one that I like with the fries. It's pretty great.
So here's another sandwich related question. Welcome to Sandwich Talk.
Sandwich chat. Yeah.
But sandwich with the little toothpick sword in it, or sandwich without the little toothpick sword in it?
Yeah, I'm all about the ceremony. Yeah, do it.
Yeah.
So like if we're talking emotions related sandwich, so like the club sandwich where you like it's the piece of bread in the middle and like your classic cut into fours toothpick club sandwich. That's my I'm feeling successful. I feel like I have my life put together sandwich.
Do you wear a top hat and a monocle when eating the club sandwich?
No, a fedora.
Oh, okay. Is it like a 1940s fedora or like the little trilby, like the little tiny one?
Yeah, that's a little like you know the fedoras I have.
Yeah, okay.
I've worn one on occasion.
Yes. Well, now that we've finished sandwich talk.
You mentioned the fedora. I went to our local mall the other day, to the Valley Fair Mall, one of the bigger malls here in Salt Lake, right? And I hadn't been there in quite a while. We were just my son and I were killing some time before a doctor's appointment. And we walked in, and I usually like going to the Hot Topic, Spencer Gift, check out the goofy stuff there, right? Look for band t-shirts, stuff on clearance or whatever. But now there are two stores in there that are right next to each other. And one of them is like one of those fancy, or three of them actually right next to each other. So there's one of those fancy beard trimming places where they put in like the mustache wax in for you and stuff like that. And next to it is a fedora store, one of those milady hat, the whole store is that, next to a tattoo place. That's a
one-stop shop for some people.
Yes, yeah, for being the most insufferable person in the room, you can hit all three of those and all your shopping all done at the same time. You know what I mean? I was like, wow, I wonder if it's vertically integrated, if it's like all the same owner in all three of them, because he's like, I have cornered the market right here.
So I as someone that fits 2 out of 3 of those, I feel like our next live show, I'm gonna go have them do the big mustache wax, and then I'll go get some sleeve tattoo and the smallest fedora, and maybe
get one.
Is there a vest store nearby?
Oh man,
well?
You could get the vest store. I was gonna say if you could go to the fedora store and if they could put like a Daredevil logo on it, or like a Green Lantern logo, something like that, right? Like if they could put that right up, like if you could get them to screen print on their Cyclops was right or something like that. Then they'd have your hat there too, and we'd lose you to this thing.
I'd be gone.
Like,
I'd be gone.
We lost.
I'd be absorbed.
You're just into like getting the vest and then a pocket watch, and then it's good. We don't talk to Luke anymore.
Ever since he put that chain on his wallet, we stopped talking to him.
Yep. You got the tiny round sunglasses. We all know who exactly. I mean, this person doesn't exist anywhere except for in our brains, but we're all imagining the same guy.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly the same guy. He has to get that beard conditioner for the underside of his neck. It'll be great. But I guess kind of speaking of absorbing things, we got the trailer for the third and I'm pretty sure final Venom movie. Venom Last Dance. You guys just watched this before we started recording, so I'd like to get your thoughts on it.
I enjoyed something I don't know if I've seen before. I haven't read a ton of Venom stuff, but Venom using Eddie as a weapon, because at one point he kind of like throws Eddie and Eddie starts kicking people. Like that was interesting. I liked that that was neat. I enjoy funny Venom. I enjoy like the wacky funny kind of relationship. So yeah, I like the Venom movies. And so I'm excited that they had enough oomph to get one more out and call it a day.
Mhm.
I think they should have Tom Holland in this one just for funsies, but yeah.
Yeah,
Chris?
it looks funny. That's great. And maybe I didn't watch either of the two other Venom movies, but I always did enjoy their trailers, right? Like they like you said, I think funny Venom is perfect for the movies. You don't really need murder, just murder. Funny murder Venom is pretty
Mhm.
good. And you sold me on Venom Horse, right? Like
Mhm.
that's like, okay, that's pretty great. I may have to check this one out. I don't know why. I mean, it's usually not like a quality thing. It's usually if my family watches a movie without me, I never see it because the only time I watch anything is with everybody else in the house at some point,
Mhm.
which is why I'm really caught up on a whole bunch of anime rather than anything else, right? Like I'm getting caught up on Full Metal Alchemist. I'm caught up
Mhm.
on Jujutsu Kaisen. Almost caught up on Demon Slayer. Watched all of JoJo, you know what I mean? And so if I watch
Mhm.
something with my son, that's kind of what he wants to watch. And Fallout. We both have like
Mhm.
a big thing of we love Fallout. So they watched those Venom movies without me. I didn't get to check those out. They always seem like they have everything in it that I would love because Tom Hardy's amazing.
Mhm.
Woody Harrelson as Carnage is sounds like wonderful casting, but Sony inserts themselves into these things and ruins them just out
Mhm.
of pocket. You know what I mean? They are stuck in that 90s superhero movie mode with Morbius. And when it was, if you were a comic book fan, if you wanted to go see a comic book movie and Morbius was the only one that came out in a 3-year
Mhm.
span, you would go see it maybe twice because it's like,
Mhm.
well, if we
What
never
else
go
do we
see these
have?
movies, yeah, what else do we have? And if we don't go see it, they'll never make another one,
Mhm.
you know?
Mhm.
So I may check, I may have to, I'm pretty sure you don't need a whole bunch of backstory to jump in on
Right.
Venom.
Right.
And so maybe I check those out in a weekend
Mhm.
and see this. Certainly not in the theater.
Yeah, I will say it is probably the Venom movies have been the best Sony project that isn't, Marvel produced with Tom Holland in it because it's just Venom, Madam Web, and Morbius.
And
So,
even even the Sony Spider-Man movie, and
mhm.
I'll take the heat on this one. It's not very good. It has
Which
a
one?
lot the this latest one with the crossover stuff, right?
Oh, okay.
With all of them in it.
Mhm. Mhm.
It is a ton of fan service, and
Mhm.
and I bet I watched it on TV. I bet watching it in the theater was a madhouse when like the others when Garfield shows up and
Mhm.
Maguire show up. I bet the pops from the crowd on that were just insane. But it's kind of like watching Rocky Horror Picture Show at home and not going to the theater and doing the squirt guns and all that sort of stuff. The Rocky
Mhm.
Horror Picture Show is also not a very good movie. The fun of
Oh,
it's good music. The fun of it is that
how dare you say that, especially in this month?
I know. I love now let me temper all of this stuff. I love Rocky Horror
Uh,
Picture Show. I sing the
mm.
soundtrack. One of these days, if anyone ever got me a costume, it would be one of those things to go and do karaoke to Sweet Transvestite. I have that whole song memorized. I sing it I've always wanted to sing it at karaoke. And it would be just a tiny shove to put me in a costume too. You know what I mean? It'd be like, you should put
You're
on
like,
the
"Oh
costume. I'd be like,
no,
oh, shut
don't
up.
twist my
Okay.
arm."
Yeah. And I have half of it already in my closet. Like, oh, I saw these on sale. You know what I mean?
How did these get here?
Exactly. I understand how much I really love going and seeing Rocky Horror Picture Show live, but I've also watched it on DVD, and I've been like, like this is this is fine. You know what I mean? But
Mhm.
Spider-Man, it felt like the same way, where it was like if you didn't have that huge audience reaction, it wasn't as good.
Mm-hmm.
and it felt a little thrown together, which it kind of was. There was a lot. It's another one of those where the COVID interruptions really screwed around with its production schedule and with the storyline and stuff. So that to be said, Sony does not make very good movies.
No. And like I said back when they first when Sony and Marvel first teamed up with Spider-Man, I said it was the equivalent of a child who had a toy and they broke it into 100 pieces, and then they go to the parent and they say, can you fix this, please? Can you please fix our Spider-Man?
Yeah.
And they're like, okay. And they went and took some super glue and they did Civil War, and you're like, all right, don't break it this time.
Mm-hmm.
Be careful.
And immediately start chewing on the head again. Right.
But it stayed together. I feel like the toys stayed together through these movies versus the older ones. Because I liked the Garfield one, second one fell apart. I loved the Raimi ones, and then the third one fell apart. So it was nice to see it not completely fall apart. And you were talking about like pop in the movie theater during those, and that definitely happened. I feel more so for the Andrew Garfield one than the Tobey Maguire one. But for me, it was like silent fist pumps with Charlie Cox and Matt Murdock, and I felt like I was the only one in the theater that was like, besides my daughter, who was like, Dad, and I'm like, I know, that's awesome.
Right on.
But there was like, you heard like some mumbling, like, oh, isn't that Daredevil? Is that Daredevil? But that was it. Andrew Garfield comes out and people start fainting in the aisles. But yeah, no. So I think the Venom ones are the best of the Sony original stuff. I still don't think they're great. I don't usually go watch them when they come out. It's more like, oh, it's on HBO, cool, or or oh, it's on Prime now, let me watch that. But I think they get. It's one of those things when you have good actors with not so great material. And I think that's where shows like Morbius and Madam Web just didn't do very well. Like Adam Scott is a very good actor, and he plays Ben Parker in Madam Web, and he was probably the best part of that whole movie. And I was like, oh, look, it's good actors, acting well and taking not so great material and making it awesome. So I think, and then like Jared Leto,
I think he would have been better if they would have re-recorded all his lines like everyone else.
The ADR, man, the ADR.
Mm-hmm.
But no, like you look at Jared Leto, like he's not great as the Joker because that was terrible writing. He was not great as Morbius because it was terrible writing. And then he wins an Oscar for Dallas Buyers Club. So he's one of those actors, give them a good script and they'll act the hell out of it. But I think like in the second Venom, they had Woody Harrelson playing Carnage. And I was like, Woody Harrelson's great. He can act anything. And he did. And then I think it's major kudos to Tom Hardy. Given like, they're not great lines, but he pulls it off and you believe it. And you're like, oh, good thing Tom Hardy's a good actor. Because if you give Jared Leto these lines, this is a canceled movie.
Yeah.
Sorry for all the Jared Leto hate that I'm throwing out there, but it's true.
He's got a whole like religion. They're all going to come after you real quick. Like you need to be careful about that.
Yeah.
But
I'll keep.
So Sony, what they've done is they've given a new, Roland Emmerich and the other guy, that did Independence Day and Stargate, all those terrible movies, sci-fi movies from the 90s.
Ryan is now offended. Did you just call Stargate and Independence Day terrible movies?
They're terrible movies. They're a lot of fun to watch. They're awful. They're so dumb, but they go all the way around.
You've never hurt me this much before.
I'm sorry, Ryan. We're gonna talk about Star Wars here in a minute too. Like it's gonna be. I need to send like a thing of crumble cookies to your house after we do about. But again, to defend myself a little bit, I saw Independence Day, the original one. I saw it 4 times the first day it came out. Because I went and saw it in the morning with a friend because we were like, hey, we got to go see this. And then another friend was like, you went and saw it without me. We need to go see it right now. And then later on, it was like there was 4 other friends who was like, oh, we didn't go. There's a new movie. Let's go check it out. So I love ID4. I just don't have any illusions of that it's very good. You know what I mean? And when you go look at those, you look at Roland Emmerich movies, he makes those types of movies. And if you like those types of movies, go watch the ones that he made. So there's 2 guys. It is Burke Sharpless and Matt Sazama, and they wrote and produced Morbius and Madam Web and Gods of Egypt.
They did talk about a talented cast that just drug whatever writing, because that one had Chadwick Boseman and Elodie Young, the actress that played Elektra. Like, they had a great cast in that.
The Last Witch Hunter.
The kid that plays Robin in Titans was in Gods of Egypt.
And cool concept, right? And Alex Proyas is amazing. It was amazing. Something happened to him from the 90s to now, because The Crow is awesome, and Dark City is one of my favorite movies of all time. And Gods of Egypt was just and his not Heroes of Tomorrow. There was the Captain Future. Is that one?
Oh yeah, with the airships.
Yeah, which
the steampunk one.
Yeah, which on paper, this looks amazing. Right? That could have been the steampunk revolution for Hollywood, right? That would have been the kickoff for it, but it was terrible. And so I don't know what it is with some of these people where it's like, you made
Sky
terrible
Captain
movies.
in the World of Tomorrow.
Sky Captain in the World of Tomorrow, which
with Jude Law and Angelina Jolie.
Yeah, there's something about Hollywood that hates steampunk, because The Rocketeer is a cult classic. Like, the people who love that movie love it, love it, love it. But not enough. Yeah, I know, that's what I mean. But what's come of it since that movie that came out in 1992 or whatever, or 89? Like, 92. It's from the 92.
It's 92, yeah. The comic came out in 89.
Yeah.
So
it seems like a perfect replacement for Indiana Jones, right? Like, you could just...
And they were going to do something like 2 or 3 years ago. They had it lined up. There was going to be another, I think it was an animated Rocketeer show for Disney Plus. And I was like, perfect. That's awesome. And then it just never happened.
Yeah. So I don't know. Stop giving these guys. This is like the guys that ruined Game of Thrones. And they finally stopped them by taking away the Star Wars movie they were going to make. And so this is just the new guys that we just need to put on a boat somewhere and be like, just stop.
Can you not?
Yeah.
Okay, so the next thing that I had is the actress that plays the Wasp in the MCU, Evangeline Lilly, has announced that she is stepping away from acting. She's retiring. So I guess my question for you guys is, what do you think will happen with the Wasp in the MCU after she left?
She'll never be heard from again. Or she'll be on vacation. Or she'll just have occasional off-screen references. Or they'll just call her, just be like she's in the kitchen somewhere. Hope, will you go do this? Hey, Hope told me this.
Right. She just turns into like a chat window on a screen.
Yes. Text message from Hope.
Scott's sad. Hope broke up with him.
Yep.
They genetically modify her into an actual wasp and then just use AI to make her voice.
No, they're just like, listen, Michelle Pfeiffer isn't retiring. You're the Wasp again. Come on. Go be in some movies with like 20-year-old children.
Michelle Pfeiffer walks into her room, and the Wasp costume is there with a note saying, I have gone to Hawaii. Please cover for me.
They die. She dies off screen, and then they like have a photo of her on like their mantle, and there's a scene change where the camera goes over and sticks on that photo for 3 seconds as it fades out, and then that's the last you ever hear.
That, or you could do a post-credit scene if something happens to the Wasp and Michelle Pfeiffer is, going through her room and putting everything up, and she opens the closet and the costume's there, and she puts it up in front of her and goes, and then it cuts to black. Yeah. I don't know. Either that or they just recast her, which is probably what they'll do. I mean, they did it. They've done it repeatedly with in the MCU with characters like Rhodey, which I have been watching. Yeah, well, they had her and Mark Ruffalo as the Hulk as a replacement.
I thought you meant like they recast Rhodey repeatedly, and I was like,
no.
Once.
They've done it with and then they're gonna do it with Thunderbolt Ross for the Thunderbolts movie. So it's not something that's out of the realm of possibility for him. But it's funny because I went and started watching we finished phase 1 of the Marvel movies, my daughter and I, and the first lines of Don Cheadle when he comes in as Rhodey, and he walks up to him, he says, "Yeah, it's me. Get over it. Move on."
It's me. I'm here. Let's move on. That was perfect.
So good.
Early MCU is just a masterclass on just solving problems. There's Iron Man is a perfect movie. Iron Man 1 is a perfect movie. The two most perfect movies in the world to me are that one and the Pirates of the Caribbean. Those two movies are just so perfect, but that was just they were just like problem solving, and they were just like, how are we going to do this? And that you could imagine like sitting in a executive suite, like overthinking it, right? Where you're like, oh, do we need to find someone who looks like him, or do we need to do this and stuff like that? Which is why the whole Kang problem doesn't seem like such a big problem, right? Because it's like you fixed this already with a guy.
You already have the solution.
Doesn't look anything like him, and fans accepted it immediately because you told a good joke, and we just went and then moved on with our lives.
I see what you did there.
Yeah,
good job, Jon Favreau.
It was a better job of acknowledging it than to hide it. If we as an audience feel like we're being played for idiots, we won't like that. But if we're in on the joke, everything is just fine, and nobody complained about. Well, what's his name from Iron Man 1 complained about it. Terrence Howard complained about it, but nobody else besides Terrence Howard complained about it.
So I actually, this is a recurring argument that we usually have with Charles, Ryan and I anyway. Speaking of phase 1 of Marvel, what do you think of the first Thor movie?
The first Thor movie? God, I can barely remember it.
The Kenneth Branagh directed one.
Yeah.
Before Thor got goofy.
Thor, I don't know. You start, Ryan.
No, the point of Luke's question is for yours, because we already know.
Well, because you already know. Okay.
We don't want to bias you.
Okay, perfect. That's fine. Maybe I'm taking the question too seriously. I feel like a Thor from the comics would have been dumb as hell on a movie screen. The throwing in Thou every once in a while to seem like he's Shakespearean, you know what I mean? Like they did in the comics. Forsooth, here am I, the son, the Odin's son.
Have at thee.
Yeah. By Odin's beard, how could we, And so the fact that I think and I love Ragnarok, but I'm not like such a huge Thor fan. I feel like if I was a huge Thor fan, that I would feel like this degeneration into him being also Deadpool would be very upsetting. But because everybody kind of all the characters start turning into Deadpool because Deadpool is very popular. Harley Quinn has turned into Deadpool. Thor turned into Deadpool. And, Iron Man kind of turned into Deadpool, right? Like he wasn't a snarky, jokey, fast as wits guy in the comics, and almost nobody's favorite character either. Iron Man and Thor even, right? So yeah, I don't know. I barely remember. The only thing I remember about it was that they sort of introduced Shield in a little bit more, and I remember the scene when he's trying to pick up the hammer. Right, I remember that with Hawkeye and stuff. I thought it was really cool because that was like an early. Oh, they've got more characters in the movie. That's really cool. But yeah, that's about it. I don't think about it a lot, and I never saw number 2.
So Charles thinks it's the worst Marvel movie.
Yeah, demonstrably not.
Yeah, he hates it on a personal level, and we have never understood why and it's kind of the part of the reason that we gave him the Nerd Storson persona of Odinson. We do it as a jab because we know that he doesn't love that movie. But
because everybody else gets logos and stuff related to their favorite thing, and Charles gets logos and stuff related to his least favorite Marvel movie.
It's fantastic.
I just don't think it's worse. I don't think it's worse than Hulk. I thought that the Hulk one's not very good. Right? And you kind of forget that that's the second one in the MCU building, right?
Right.
It's certainly better than the earlier one, but it's not very good. And there's a worse Thor movie, it seems like. So it's like that's weird that that's the one you don't like.
So I, again, rewatching it, it is very Shakespeare. It's Kenneth Branagh's the director, and that's what he does. And he really did tee it up like a very serious Shakespearean stuff. You get some of the best acted scenes, I think, in the first like serious acting. Like there's funny jokey scenes like in the Iron Man stuff that's great. But I remember hearing it was an interview with Tom Hiddleston when it's the scene where Anthony Hopkins is casting Thor out, and they have this back and forth where they're screaming at each other, and then it was Tom Hiddleston's turn to do something, and he was just like just mouth open, oh, these guys are good. Like, it's like one of his first big acting gigs, and he's got Anthony Hopkins going full Shakespeare up there, screaming Elder King, and he was just like, I didn't know what to do. It was so good. And then you also get the other scene where he's arguing, or he's trying to get Odin to tell him what he is. I'm not really your son. That's a super well acted, very emotional scene. And I was just like, this is really good. And then even the part where Loki shows up and tells Thor that he can't come home, and you get that like sad Thor, and I'm just like, this is really, really good. Like after rewatching it, it just made me go like, Charles is so wrong about this. Like, other than them dyeing Chris Hemsworth's eyebrows and beard to be a lighter color blonde, that's hard to look at. Which they got away with from in Avengers, and then the second one. They didn't do it after that first movie, but especially the eyebrows, I was like, you didn't need to. He's already a blonde guy. He didn't need to be like super blonde. But I liked it because it was a little more serious. You did still have some jokey stuff with the Warriors 3. And you actually had the fucking Warriors 3.
Yeah.
Instead of just killing them in 5 minutes as a gag joke. Taika Waititi, I'm looking at you.
Yeah, that's the worst part of that movie is that is losing all those guys because why? To serve what purpose? I mean, to understand, we already understand Hela is very powerful. Why? And also, after she murdered everybody like that in the first 5 seconds, why was there still somebody resisting?
Right.
You know what I mean? Where it was just like, we give up. We're done. Yeah, sorry.
Yeah, that and especially in Ragnarok, the Lady Sif not existing whatsoever.
Right.
I was like, she would what? And then she shows up in Love and Thunder as again another gag joke for a few minutes, but I still say I think the best way to do Thor was the way that the Russos did Thor in the first Avengers Infinity War movie. Not when he got all fat and was all goofy again, but like that first movie where he's on his like, I'm going to kill Thanos vengeance, because you got a little bit of funny from Ragnarok, but he was dude was like torn emotionally, and like, so he's still, I've always said Thor is funny in the way that he doesn't he doesn't understand like metaphors or like modern technology and stuff like that. Like that's the kind of funny Thor is. He just doesn't get it, right? Like, send me an electronic mail. Do you have a computer? No. Why would that matter? Send it by Raven. Like that kind of funny, not goofy. Oh, I knocked this vase off a shelf. Look at klutzy, goofy Thor.
Although when he's like, well, they won't notice me because I'm gonna look like this. And he puts the thing over his face.
Yes, there was some funny stuff.
Pretty funny. Yeah. But yes, enough. It's enough of that. Like the contrast to the funny needs to be contrasted with serious and serious moments, right? Like you were saying, the PTSD Thor was emotionally interesting for the character because it was like, yeah, he has been at war for a really long time.
And how he tries to hide it kind of with like making jokes, like, but he's not serious about these jokes.
Right. Yeah. But then when it is serious, it's serious, right? Like, and he's a warrior and he's a fighter and stuff. I feel like a lot of the MCU stuff, like the oh gosh, what was the fourth one called? The Love and Thunder was a little bit too much of the party Thor from the What If story.
Right.
And which if it's party Thor, that's fine, right? Because it's party Thor. And that's the character that has none of the serious part in it. It's just the joking one. And do that one. That's fine.
Yeah. But I mean, when they opened up with Thor doing the Jean-Claude Van Damme split kicks to stop the stuff and then screaming at them, I'm like, okay, I know what this is.
I was really disappointed in that one because I thought it was going to be Guardians of the Galaxy like 2.5. I thought they were going to be in it. Like the whole point of at the end of the movie when they all like leave on the ship together, they're like, we're going to go do adventures. But what we meant is only in the first 2 minutes of the next movie. I thought it was going to be an off-world. You're out doing space stuff with the Guardians of the Galaxy, space Viking stuff. Why you had to why you had to come back to a reluctant Natalie Portman. It didn't seem like she wanted to do it, but props to her. It does. If you look at before and after pictures of her bulking up to be Thor, she put her effort into it. You know what I mean?
I think she did a good job. It just didn't feel like the same characters from the same character the last two times I saw her.
Right. Yeah.
I was just like, okay. But again, I'm kind of sad that was like the last, I'm probably going to end up being the last Thor movie because he officially has more movies than any of the other Avengers. He's the only one that got 4. So, and it was just kind of sad to see. It's like, oh man, I was hoping they would go more like what the Russos had laid down, but they did what they did. I still watch it. I do think Natalie Portman did a great job, but we've been talking about Marvel for way too long. So now we're going to move to Star Wars Acolyte. We had the first 2 episodes drop yesterday as of recording.
Oh, you guys didn't watch all 4?
No.
I'm just kidding. I did
only 2. But yeah, I wanted to get your guys' take on it.
I
Ryan, do you want to go?
do.
Okay.
I liked it. I've had the opportunity to watch them twice. I watched once with a friend and then once again with my mom. And I liked it. The first time I watched it, I had this weird feeling that I felt like I was watching a really nicely done fan film. And I don't know why I felt that. I had a hard time identifying it. And I didn't feel that way that much the second time. I really like the High Republic era. I like the media that they've released about it, the books and the comics and such. So I was excited to see that on screen. I really, really like the Jedi costumes aesthetically, even though I feel like that's kind of weird for Jedi to ornate themselves with gold trim and stuff. That doesn't seem very Jedi, but I like the way they look so much. I thought it was neat to see Vernestra Rowe, who is the only character in the show so far that's from the books. And it's cool to see it. Overall I'm really excited to see a brand new era, a brand new section of stories to be told. They could do anything they want, and that's exciting. They're not beholden to anything that's existing. They're not beholden to the Skywalker family. So I'm excited to see what they can. There's so much potential to be explored. There's so many stories that could be told. So I thought it was fun. They still stick to some of them Star Wars tropes. But I think they do that to try to make it still feel like Star Wars. One of the things that I love that I really liked about the High Republic media that's come out so far is the bad guys aren't Sith. I hope they continue to do that. It looks like maybe they're not going to do that. I don't know who the bad guys are going to be, but it seems to be hinting that they're Sith. So yeah, I'm excited to see where it goes. My favorite character is the Padawan of the Jedi Master that's sent to find the main character.
Right.
I love her. I love the dynamic that she has with the big dumb newly Jedi Knight. I love that kind of relationship in characters.
Jecki is her character's name.
Is her? What's the big dumb Jedi Knight name? Roth or something? I can't remember.
York.
I'm not good with names. Yord.
Yeah, my daughter was like, "Oh, Yord."
Yeah.
Every time he did something, "Oh, Yord."
I have so much Yord hair envy. I love his hair. His hair is so cool.
It's the Miles Morales hair from Spider-Man 2.
But it's like perfectly swooshed to the side. Like, I love it. And it took me forever. I'm like watching it and I'm like, I know who this actor is. I don't know who, the Padawan. What was her name? Sorry.
Jecki.
She's from Logan.
So I'm like, I know who this is. I can't figure it out. I know who this is. And finally I'm like, it's Arya Stark from Game of Thrones. And then I'm like, nope, that's still not it. I know who this is. I didn't realize it was Laura from Logan. It's when I finally recognized her, I was like, oh, it's Lyra from his Dark Materials. And then I IMDb'd it and I was like, I didn't know Lyra was also Laura from Wolverine from Logan. But yeah, I love her. I love that actor. I love her, and I love that character that she's playing in the dynamic with the smart, quiet, reserved with taking no shit from the big dumb Jedi.
Right.
Love it. So. Also, go ahead. I'm gonna say one more thing. I was so excited to see Carrie-Anne Moss be a Jedi, and that did not disappoint. But I am so disappointed with this tiny amounts that exists of that content. Anger.
Okay. Speaking of anger, Chris?
I'm a professional Star Wars nitpicker for 30 years, right? Where
He says while wearing a Star Wars t-shirt.
I know, I was telling Luke before we started recording, I put on this shirt accidentally today, right? Like I have like 5 Star Wars t-shirts. One of my favorite ones is I have like a Chewbacca one that's like fuzzy. Like he's fuzzy on the shirt. It's amazing. But I wore this shirt and I was at the doctor's office and I was getting on the elevator and there's a guy with a Mandalorian t-shirt on. And he looks over at me and he goes, "Hey, did you watch the Acolyte last night?" And I was like, "How the hell does this guy know?" And I look down at my shirt and I'm like, "Oh yeah, I did." And he was like, "What'd you think?" And I was like, "Yeah. And he goes, "Yeah. And he's like, we're gonna need to see the next episode, right?" And I said, "Yeah. I probably need to see the next episode." And
So you had that conversation from the end of Basketball where they're like, dude.
Yeah.
One word, but you had the entire conversation.
Yeah. It's a great movie, by the way. And so I thought the same things that you did. I actually have on my notes here. One of the things that I was saying is like this really feels like it's playing to the cosplayers, right? Where they're paying a lot of attention to being like, somebody will love cosplaying this. And it does feel like a fan film. It looks cheap is one of the problems that I had with the show. Everything feels like it's lit exactly the same. Like it's hard. There's a lot of dream sequences in the show, so it's hard. And they're trying to be like fancy with the way they're telling the story, so it gets a little confusing sometimes. Of like, am I in a dream sequence? Am I getting backstory? Am I in a flashback? Where am I with this? I would say same thing with the Carrie-Anne Moss. But I also felt like it was a bait and switch because she's on every poster, she's in every trailer, and then did we say spoiler?
Don't worry,
alert
you'll get the flashback episodes that puts her in the rest of the series.
Right. Yeah, and that's I hate flashbacks telling a story. Start a story at the beginning of the story and start there and go through it, right? I'm also excited about Star Wars media that doesn't have anything to do with the I like it when it doesn't have anything to do with Jedi at all. I like Star Wars stuff that's about bounty hunters and Force users that don't adhere to the Jedi code and stuff like that. So, but also bonus points for just not involving the Skywalkers because it's a whole big universe, right? And they've explored 6 inches of it in what they've done so far. But man, there's just too many things in this one. It is I looked up the creators, right, for the show. And the thing is that I think I don't want to rag on the show too much because I'm also excited there's a very diverse cast of creators and cast. There are 2 conventionally attractive people in the entire show. There's the main character and Yord are like conventionally attractive people. Everyone else looks like they just picked him off of the street and said, "You're in a Star Wars movie." You know what I mean? Like, shout out to plus size Jedi, man. That guy make 10 action figures of that dude. You know what I mean? Because like, that's us. You know what I mean?
He had the Padawan braid and everything.
Yeah. You know what I mean?
Awesome.
It's like, come on, man. You know what I mean? You're a Jedi. Why? Yeah. Who do this too? But there was so much stuff in the show where it was like, like there were at the beginning of the show, but it was bugging me that they were just using colloquial phrases. And when Star Wars does stuff where they say stuff where they're like, "We're sitting ducks." You don't know what the fuck a duck is. Why are you saying how do you get to that phrase, you know? And it's just little things like that happen over and over again. There's no fire in space. Why is there fire in space?
I was trying really hard to rationalize that. I'm like, okay.
Yes.
Yep. Same.
What exhaust? There's got to be exhaust coming out of here that's catching on plane that's like there's got to be oxygen leaking out of that tank enough that
it's a chemical burn.
Yeah. And the thing is, you could have the fire on the inside of why is it important that she's on the outside of the
because it looks cool.
Fine, and so but yeah, that was the thing. It was I don't care for the kung fu Star Wars. It was like and a Jedi Master dying, two Jedi Masters dying like total bitches sucks. You know what I mean? Where was Carrie Ann Moss like, oh, you distracted her and she died? Boo. Boo. And then I did really love the monk Jedi. That is from a Charles Soule comic book.
Yep.
So it's cool to see that someone is actually going into the lore and being like, hey, this is an idea here. But the other thing about all of the characters, and especially that guy, everyone looks like you logged into Star Wars Online, hit the random character generator, and took the first choice, right? Because I don't like the way Jackie looks. It looks like with the airbrush eyes and stuff. The worst one, well, keep it on the monk guy. He has like this weird chin, this goofy beard. He's
the
balding.
fake beard.
Yeah, the fake glued on beard, and then a scar over his eye, right? And it was like, and then she talks to him, rolled a natural 20 on her on her convincing skill, right? And he's like, you're right. I should die. That sounds great. Let's do this. And so
that fake beard was about as bad as the Ewan McGregor fake beard when they had to go in episode 2 where they had to go and reshoot some scenes and he had shaved and it's just all patchy and see-through. I was like, oh, come on, man. Just don't have a beard.
Yeah.
We don't know this character. He doesn't need to have a beard.
Right. The sets look really cool. It's weird because the sets look really cool and the CG, like the spaceships and stuff, look really cool. But the makeup, and I felt like a lot of especially the makeup looked terrible. The mother Anissa, where she had the green skin, that looked like they just went to Party City and grabbed one of those clown makeup sets and just plastered it on her face. And it was like, you don't have something better than this. And then there was like little things that would happen where like she opened the door with the Force, and it's like, are none of the doors in the Jedi Temple, you have to open them with the Force every time you walk in? Like there's no
training,
I guess.
It's training.
And it's like, was that a decision? Was that a choice? Or was that like, you don't understand how the Force works? One of my favorite things though about the show, and it's like, if the story was like so super cool, it was just overshadowing all this stuff, I wouldn't care. But since it's not like grabbing me by the throat and making me pay attention, I'm sitting here looking at all this little ticky-tacky stuff that's going on. One of my favorite things is that it's obvious that the main actress, who's really great, the Amandla Stenberg, she's great, and playing two characters, that's great. But it's obvious she has absolutely no martial arts training, because every time it's time to kick ass, there's one scene where she's like, I'm going to kick your ass, mask. And then it's a different person. Cut. And then it's the stunt doubles from Spaceballs, right? Where it's like, you cut their stunt doubles. And then she does all this crazy stuff. And then when she has to emote again, mask down, and then she doesn't move. A lot of hand acting, And so that's that's always the thing that drives me nuts about Star Wars content, when I'm not like, because there's plenty of stuff to nitpick in The Mandalorian, but I didn't when I was watching it, because I was like, oh my God, I love this little Yoda guy. You know what I mean? Like, put him in every scene. I want him doing all this stuff. And so this one, the thing that I was sitting there, I was like, I can't just come in and just complain about the show. I've got to think of some nice things to say about the show. And so the nicest thing that I wanted to say about the show is that it's super easy to follow, because there is nothing that the characters are doing or feeling that they don't express with words to everyone else in the room. I am mad at you because of this. I am sorry that you are mad at me because of this. Well, that is okay. And the fact that it's a murder mystery and they're like, we don't know who did it. Well, it couldn't be anybody except for her, except for she has a twin. What? Like the one type of person in the world that has an exact person that could be out there killing people, and they automatically, just on the eyewitness testimony of this one person. I understand that Star Wars is a fantasy, right? It's Lord of the Rings with a little bit of steampunk in it, right? But there's no other way to tell if it was really that person there or not.
They have no cameras.
There is,
no cameras.
There's no cameras. There's no way that the Force has. You have these connections to people, right? You know what I mean? Where it's like, I feel this person, or the Master Soul was able to like get the truth out of like a
crazy
prisoner.
guy.
Yeah. But not out of someone,
So,
you know what I mean?
That was one of the things that I wanted to talk about with because the way they have always in other media and stuff, anytime they portray like using of the Force, especially like that to, dominate someone's mind, it's very frowned upon.
Yeah.
But they were going really willy-nilly with that in this. He was just like, I need answers. And I was like, well, man, Obi-Wan could have done that to the assassin, been like, hey, who is he? She was like, oh, it's Jango Fett. They're on Camino. But there was always like this, we don't do that kind of thing, but they're just like going for it.
Yeah.
Yeah. This is one of the problems, because the mixed media of the Star Wars, in the High Republic stuff, they kind of touch on that a little bit, in that this is before this TV show's happening, this is the height of the Jedi's presence, political power, respect,
influence,
trust, and influence in the Republic. And that they had like ultimate trust. Like the Jedis were the paragon of morality.
Paragons, yep.
And so they're like, yeah, they're used to being like, oh, I'm going to do this because obviously I'm doing it for the greater good. So of course everyone's going to trust me that I'm doing it for the greater good. They're just barely in this series coming out of that. That's why Saul kind of says at one point, our political enemies are going to use this against us, because there's the series that happens right before this is about the tarnishing of the Jedi's reputation.
Okay.
And how that kind of goes down.
Okay. Yeah. One thing I wanted to say is that that I'm probably gonna massacre this. Lee Young Jae, the actor that plays Master Soul, great job, fantastic job. He does that. He conveys that level of like calm, but also with a little bit of emotion behind it. And he's also a badass in the fight scene with May, when he just takes all of her weapons as she's trying to attack him. I'm like, that's the most Jedi thing I've ever seen. Just take away all their weapons and then throw them on the ground and be like, all right, can we talk now? Like, I loved that. I absolutely love that. We kind of touched on the costumes. I have never been a fan of the white and gold Jedi stuff. I know the only time I've ever been like, oh, okay, is with the ceremonial Jedi guard that we've seen at the temple. And I like that you can see where that evolved from. That's pretty cool. But I was so happy that they changed out of that to go out and actually do stuff. Because my brain is like, you're going to wear a white cape and white pants. You're just going to be filthy wherever you go. Star Wars space is dirty. Nothing is clean. So when they changed into the more traditional like browns, I was like, oh, okay, good. That's fine. You have your office attire and then your backpacking attire. I really liked the actress that plays Osha and May. I think she did a really good job. I actually did like the the hand-to-hand fighting stuff, even though Carrie-Anne Moss was literally just doing the stuff she did in The Matrix. Stand there, one hand thing. Ryan, I know you love Carrie-Anne Moss. She's never been my favorite. Like,
Well,
I
you're
don't
wrong.
dislike her. I just this is the Attack Ryan show, by the way.
Yeah, sorry,
Independence
man.
Day was garbage. I hate Carrie-Anne Moss. No, so honestly, I was kind of looking forward to her not being a part of it because she was a
Oh,
big
well, you
face
got
and a
your
big
wish.
name. Well, because she's a big face and a big name, and I was really hoping to have a bunch of people I don't know, right? Like characters I don't know, actors I don't know. Let this be the ground floor for me. Which I mean, for the most part, it is. Yord was giving me vibes of the guy who plays in the Dungeons and Dragons movie. What was he? He was the Paladin.
Yeah.
That like just like the standing, the way he held, like he composed himself and like shoulders back and chin up, like it's a very Jedi thing. Paladins, Jedi, same thing. So I liked that. Again, my daughter and I were just like, oh, Yord, every time he would get overzealous about something. And he's got a great name to yell like that. I liked the actor, is it I have it right here. The Khmer, the guy that sold the poison, that made the poison.
Oh yeah.
I really liked that character. And I feel like there's way more depth to that character than we know because they allude to stuff like he knows who the master is.
Yeah.
And I'm like, okay, what's all this about? And I have seen, again, my brother is a huge fan of the old Star Wars, the Legends stuff. And his favorite thing was always Darth Bane and Xana. And he is boycotting this show because he thinks that's what it's going to do. He thinks they replaced Xana with May, and the bad guy is the Disney version of Bane.
No. That's not what's going to happen.
Maybe. I don't know, but he because he thinks, Sith Acolyte, the very first thing that his brain registers is Darth Xana from the Legends. So, I mean, I don't know. Maybe not. Maybe they could do something else. Maybe he's another Tempest guy. Who knows?
It'd be giving him a lot of credit to actually go back into other lore and be like, we're taking this character and bringing him into something else.
Right.
I think that's giving him just way too much credit.
But Filoni does that all the time. That's like his MO, is he does that all the time, which a lot of people hate on him for it. Like, that's not the Thrawn that I remember. This Thrawn is slightly different. Rawr.
Very slightly.
Yeah, and they referenced Darth Bane in the old Clone Wars cartoon, like in the last season. So he's around there. That's why I'm seeing. I could see it. I'm still waiting if Filoni's just pulling stuff, from the Filoni and Favreau pulling stuff from the old stuff. I'm still waiting for Mara Jade. That's my number one thing. She was awesome, and I think that character would kick ass in the current Star Wars stuff. But yeah, so I'm interested to see. But I mean, the thing that really got me excited was the very end of the second episode. I have been wanting to see a Wookiee Jedi in live action for so long that I'm like, yes, cool, please. Even though the Wookiee costume did kind of look like a fan costume, a very good fan costume. But I want to see giant lightsaber wielding Jedi Wookiee who anytime I see the like in the book covers and stuff or in the comics where they show like Wookiees wearing like the Jedi robes, and I was like, they wouldn't do that. They're just Wookiees, man. They've got enough clothing. They got fur. Like they're
gotta
fine.
be naked.
So yeah, just naked Wookiee Jedi like battalion. give it to me. I'm here for it. But I mean, I enjoyed it. It does seem like it's kind of a slower burn. As
And you only
opposed to
got 8
something like The
episodes. Like,
Mandalorian.
slow burn's
Right.
not something you do with 8 episodes, you know what I mean? Like,
Right. Right.
it should be, and I feel like I watched
There's
a bunch of
only
reviews.
4, isn't there?
There's I thought it was 6. Oh no, it's 8. It's
Well, I
8.
thought it was
It's
4.
8 episodes.
Oh, okay.
No, it's 8.
It's 8.
Mhm.
Yep.
I was watching some other reviews just to see other people's like takes on it and stuff. And the vast majority of ones that I saw where people were like, meh, you know, take it or leave it. It's like it's at a 5, you know what I mean? And that it all depends on what sort of faith you have in it to get somewhere eventually. Right. And that's really hard in today's mix of streaming services to have something where you're like, trust me, by episode 4, this is so amazing. You know what I mean? It's like, I'll watch a show that's great from episode 1. Watch Fallout. That show is amazing from first episode. The Boys is amazing from the first episode. Anxiety inducing, right? And so having a show, if the slow burn is for a purpose, you know what I mean, then awesome. But it has a bunch of things going against it in that, like, if you go back and look at most of the creators of the show and you look at the average scores for the stuff that they've made, it's around a 6. So that's where this is going to be. It's going to be around a 6, you know what I mean? Where it's going to be like, it's above average. It's not one that people are going to be like, it'll be some people's favorites, right? For the things we talked about before, but it's going to be more of what people are bringing to it themselves than the show is actually doing on its own, right?
Yeah. So that's you and I think I speak for Ryan on this as well. How you like the non-Force user Star Wars universe, we're the opposite. We like the Jedi stuff. We like the Force stuff. So this is for us. Andor was hard for me to get through, even though it was really good. I was just like, cool. This
Andrew
is
keeps
just
telling me that I
normal.
would like it. I'm not sure.
You
Because
would.
it's also the thing where I'm like, I don't know if I would, if I want it that bleak, you know what I mean? It's like,
Well, more in the way that it's not, there's no Jedi, there's nothing supernatural happening. It's just people in this sci-fi universe being people. And I'm like, that's cool, but I get that literally everywhere else. Give me space wizards and laser swords that I can't get everywhere else. And that's just me. I don't know. Ryan, does that sound about the same to you?
Give me my space magic. I do like that. And I hated every part of Andor that had Cassian in it, and I loved every part of Andor that didn't.
Yep.
I didn't care for him much from Rogue One. You know what I mean? Because he was like Han Solo without a conscience. You know what I mean? The first
Shitty
problem
Solo.
he runs into,
He's
he
just
just
so
murders.
stupid.
He's just like, well, he dips. On the dude.
Did we just say the best part of Cassian is K2, his droid?
Yes.
Yes.
Oh, easily.
When do we get the K2 solo series?
Yeah, 100%.
It's just shorts of him sitting in a fucking office just talking shit.
Yeah. Well, it's him. Like the funny thing about him is that he is being compelled to do things he doesn't want to do.
Right.
He doesn't want to go on these missions. I'm doing this because Cassian told me to. That was so good. And then I think in the Star Wars universe, he's probably in the top 5 of character development arcs, because he goes from, I hate every one of you and I'd shoot you in the back if the circuitry would let me, all the way over to sacrificing himself for the cause. There is almost nobody. Han Solo is if you take it from the original trilogy, if he shoots Greedo first and then he becomes a hero of the rebellion at the end, that is the biggest turnaround character arc in all of Star Wars. Is he's learned a lesson by the activities that he's doing. Luke is up there too. Darth Vader.
Okay, let's just real quick because we're running a little bit long.
Sorry.
No, it's I figured this would happen. If we didn't spend 20 minutes talking about the MCU, we probably would have been on time. But real quick, Chris, do you have any comics that you wanted to talk about?
Go Jughead 178 from 1979. It is an amazing. If you read Jughead comics and you keep in mind that they were probably weren't doing this at when they were writing it, but if you read him as asexual, because Betty and Veronica throw themselves at him every issue. They are not just interested in Archie. They are interested, and they also date Reggie every once in a while. But he is so violently angry about women in the comics. There is a scene in here where he's at the beach and he's like, I hate the beach because of the sand. So very Anakin-esque,
Anakin.
right?
Yeah.
But he's also like, ugh, women, females, they're all pawing at me and they're not wearing any clothes. I hate this. And there's 2 beach stories where he is talking about how much he hates girls. And it's just funny as hell. And so if you put that, they've leaned into that a little bit in the recent comics because of how obvious it is in the old comics. And he's also he's got a fursuit on this cover. And so apparently he is a monkey
A furry
persona.
as well.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Awesome. Brian, did you have any you want to talk about?
No.
Okay. That is fine. I picked this up today. Godzilla Rivals, Mothra versus Hedorah. It's cool. It's weird because usually I think Mothra or any of the Godzilla universe, and it usually takes place in Asia, Japan. This one actually takes place in Scandinavia somewhere. They're not very clear, but some of the buildings and stuff, they have like the Stave Church in Norway, so that's where my brain is putting it, in Norway. But they have the 2 sisters, Astrid and Ingrid, I think is the other one. But they're the ones that can call forth Mothra in Norway. And yeah, it's really fun. It's a one shot, but apparently they're doing this Godzilla Rivals, and each one is a one shot. So the next one is Godzilla, and I can't they're covering up the monster that he's fighting, but it looks like it's just going to be just every month there's a new kaiju battle one shot, and I like it. They also have a I have no idea what is happening in it, but there is a comic called Godzilla Skate or Die. So I don't know what that's all about, but it looked pretty interesting. But the one I really wanted to talk about was Kanto, A Place Like Home. It's a Dark Horse book from David, is it Boer or Boer? I'm sorry if I'm messing that up. Our friend Drew Zucker on art, and this thing is great. I did not know too much of like the other Kanto books, but they do give a very good recap at the beginning to get you caught up, so you don't really need to jump into it. But the art is fantastic. You've got this little robot knight guy with his axe. By the time I got done reading this, I was like, I want Drew Zucker to do D&D comics or some kind of fantasy comics, because like the forests look amazing. The just like even the like showing older robots, and he's got a mustache that hangs over his little knight grill, because they're like little robot knights. And yeah, like the giants, like the backgrounds, like just art wise, this thing is gorgeous. The story is also very good. It I added it to my hold list. I'm gonna go back and try and get the other Kanto stuff. But I mean, for our video guys, like this art is just phenomenal. And if you're just listening to this, make sure you go over to the YouTube version and watch this. But yeah, it's great.
From the beginning. You can't just skip to this part to see the art.
Right. Yeah, you have to start from the beginning where you can't see Ryan the entire time because he's a circle man. But yeah, go pick it up. I added it to my hold. I am excited for more, and I'm going to try and get some of the older books and go from there. So yeah, that is all I have. Do you guys have anything else you want to hit before we get out of here?
Monday night, 7 p.m.
Yeah.
Come to Whatnot and look for Chris_Hoffman_Valiety Studios. It rolls right off the tongue. And you can hang out with us while we draw pretty pictures and cool custom comics.
That one that you were working on Monday, the Spider-Man Archie style was fantastic. I'm like, Peter Parker with a beard is something that I love. I love it. It's so great.
Thanks.
Yeah, it's fantastic, man. But yeah. Nerd Store this weekend. If you're in the Utah area, they are doing 100% payout for gaming cards, Magic, Pokemon, stuff like that. And they're having a big a gaming event there. So if that's your thing and you're in the Salt Lake area, go check that out. But yeah. So Brian, do you have anything?
No.
Cool. Thanks for listening. Thanks for watching. For
You're
people
welcome.
on YouTube.
You're also welcome.
Yeah, that's all I got. So Ryan,
don't forget to subscribe.
You may now exit the dome.
Fuck responsibility. I thought Ryan had another one.
No,
I was like, it goes back one more time, doesn't it?
No.
Oh,
no, the best part was of you slowly moving. I thought something big was coming because you slowly moved the microphone back towards your mouth. I was like, is he gonna yell?
That was my.
And then he goes, oh,
confidence. That's how I deliver my lines.
Oh, I could see the whole time.
Hail Hydra.
Oh, Andrew's not here.
Do you know
he
what
doesn't
to put?
know
What
what
does
he's
he say
supposed to
here?
say. He doesn't know what he's supposed to say here. But all right, guys. We will catch you next week. Thank you for listening.